Did you know that in just the past 2 years, over 500,000 people have left California? That's right, entire neighborhoods are shrinking, moving trucks are lining up, and families who once dreamed of the California lifestyle are now saying goodbye to the Golden State. But here's the shocking part. These aren't just retirees looking for a quiet place to settle down. Many of them are young professionals, families, and even lifelong Californians who never imagined leaving. So what's really going on? Why are so many Americans deciding that living in California just isn't worth it anymore? Is it the sky-high housing prices that make owning a home feel impossible? The wildfires, droughts, and blackouts that keep communities on edge? Or maybe it's the feeling that no matter how hard you work, your paycheck just doesn't stretch far enough in this state. Some people say it's the crime and homelessness crisis. Others point to politics, taxes, and endless traffic. And then there are those who simply want a better quality of life. More space, less stress, and a chance to raise their kids somewhere affordable. Whatever the reason, one thing is clear. California, once the land of dreams, is now a place many are desperate to escape. In this video, we're going to break down the 10 biggest reasons why so many Americans are leaving California, and some of them might surprise you. Stick around, because by the end, you might be asking yourself, would I leave too? Number 1. Skyrocketing cost of living. If there's one thing pushing people out of California faster than anything else, it's the cost of living. Let's be honest, California is beautiful, but living there often feels like paying a luxury tax just to exist. Take housing, for example. The median home price in California is nearly double the national average. In cities like San Francisco or Los Angeles, even a tiny one-bedroom apartment can cost more than what a spacious house costs in other states. Imagine paying $3,000 a month in rent. And that's not for a penthouse with a view, but for something modest in a crowded city. It's not just housing. Everyday essentials, groceries, gas, utilities, and even insurance are all more expensive in California compared to most of the country. A trip to the grocery store might feel like luxury shopping, and filling up your gas tank can feel like a mini mortgage payment. For many families, the math just doesn't add up anymore. They're working harder than ever, but still struggling to make ends meet. And when they realize they could move to states like Texas, Nevada, or Arizona and cut their living expenses in half, the choice suddenly becomes clear. Here's the reality. No matter how much sunshine or coastline California offers, if you can't afford to enjoy it, the dream starts to feel like a burden. And that's why so many are deciding it's simply not worth the price tag. Number 2. High taxes. If the sky-high cost of living wasn't enough, California adds another layer of pressure with its taxes, and they're some of the highest in the nation. Let's start with income tax. California has a top state income tax rate of over 13%, the highest in the U.S. That means if you're earning a good salary, a big chunk of your paycheck goes straight to the state before you even see it. And even for middle-income families, the tax bite is still painfully noticeable. But it doesn't stop there. Sales tax in California is higher than the national average, and property taxes, although technically average, end up feeling heavier because property values are so inflated. Even simple things like registering your car, paying utility surcharges, or small business fees can leave residents feeling like they're being nickel and dimed at every turn. Now, supporters argue that these taxes help fund California's roads, schools, and social programs. And yes, in theory, that's true. But for many residents, the return on investment doesn't feel worth it. Crumbling infrastructure, underperforming schools in certain districts, and rising homelessness make people question, where is all this money going? The frustration grows when people compare California to other states. In Texas or Florida, for example, there's no state income tax at all. That means families instantly keep thousands of dollars more each year. Money they can use for savings, vacations, or simply breathing easier financially. So, when Californians look at their paychecks and see how much is missing, it's no wonder many are packing up and heading to lower tax states. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants to feel like they're working for themselves, not just for the tax man. Number 3. Housing shortage and homelessness. Even if you can afford California's steep prices, there's another major problem: finding a place to live in the first place. California faces one of the worst housing shortages in the country, and that crisis has fueled another heartbreaking issue: homelessness. Here's the reality: California needs millions of new homes to meet demand, but strict zoning laws, environmental regulations, and years of slow construction have made building new housing incredibly difficult. The result? Too many people chasing too few homes, driving prices even higher, and leaving many residents with nowhere to go. And when people can't afford a roof over their heads, they end up on the streets. Today, California has nearly 1/3 of the entire nation's homeless population. In cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Oakland, tent encampments stretch for blocks, creating scenes that are both shocking and heartbreaking. For residents, this isn't just a statistic, it's something they witness every day on their commute to work, outside their local grocery store, or even in front of their homes. This crisis affects everyone. Families worry about safety, businesses lose customers, and communities feel a constant tension between compassion and frustration. For many Californians, it feels like the state's leaders talk about solutions, but the problem only grows worse year after year. Meanwhile, other states offer not only more affordable housing, but also a greater sense of stability and community. So when Californians see entire neighborhoods struggling under the weight of this crisis, many decide they'd rather start fresh somewhere else, where owning a home isn't just a dream, but a real possibility. We'd love to hear your take. What's the biggest reason you think people are leaving California? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you value the effort we put into making these videos, please support us by subscribing. It's just one click, but it helps us keep creating more for you. Folded hands. Number 4. Wildfires and natural disasters. For many Californians, the dream of living in a sunny paradise often comes with a terrifying reality: wildfires, droughts, and earthquakes. These natural disasters aren't rare. They're a constant, looming threat that makes everyday life unpredictable and, at times, dangerous. Take wildfires, for example. Every year, California faces hundreds of fires that burn through neighborhoods, destroy homes, and force thousands of families to evacuate with just minutes' notice. Imagine watching flames on the horizon, knowing you might lose everything you've worked for overnight. For many residents, that's not just a distant fear, it's a lived experience. Then there's the drought crisis. Water restrictions have become part of daily life, with residents told when they can water their lawns or wash their cars. Farmers, who provide much of the country's produce, struggle with water shortages, which also drives up food costs. On top of that, rolling blackouts during hot summers remind people just how fragile the system can be. And let's not forget earthquakes. Californians live with the knowledge that the big one could strike at any time, causing massive destruction. While smaller quakes happen regularly, the possibility of a catastrophic event always lingers in the background. These natural threats also make insurance costs skyrocket. In fact, some major insurance companies have recently pulled out of California altogether, leaving homeowners scrambling for coverage, or worse, unable to protect their biggest investment. For many families, living with constant fear and skyrocketing costs simply isn't worth it anymore. That's why so many are moving to states where natural disasters aren't such a relentless part of daily life. Number 5. Traffic and infrastructure issues. If you've ever sat in California traffic, you know why this makes the list. In cities like Los Angeles, commuting isn't just a part of life, it's practically a full-time job. It's not unusual for people to spend 2 to 3 hours every single day stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic. Imagine wasting that much time just sitting in your car, crawling along at 5 miles per hour, watching the gas gauge drop as your stress level climbs. And it's not just about time. The emotional toll is real. Parents miss dinners with their kids. Workers show up to meetings already exhausted, and weekends get swallowed up by endless drives. For many, the dream of living near California's beaches, mountains, or booming job markets quickly loses its shine when half of their life is spent behind the wheel. Beyond traffic, the state's infrastructure struggles to keep up with its massive population. Roads are aging, public transportation is limited in many areas, and even when new projects are planned, they often take decades to complete. Compare that with places like Texas, Arizona, or Nevada, where expanding highways and building new transit systems seems to happen much faster, and people start wondering why they should put up with California's gridlock at all. The frustration doesn't stop at the roads. Congestion also affects the economy. Delayed deliveries, wasted fuel, and higher transportation costs all trickle down to everyday people. And when residents realize they could live in a state where commuting is easier, shorter, and less stressful, the decision to leave becomes much more tempting. For many Californians, traffic isn't just an inconvenience. It's a daily reminder that their time and quality of life are slipping away. Number 6. Crime and safety concerns. When people think about leaving California, one word that often comes up is safety. While not every city struggles with crime, the perception, and in many places the reality, has left many residents uneasy. In major urban areas like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Oakland, stories of rising theft, car break-ins, and burglaries dominate local headlines. For some, it's become normal to never leave valuables in their car, to double-check locks, or to worry about walking home after dark. Even if crime rates fluctuate year to year, the constant sense of insecurity wears people down. Homelessness also adds to this concern. Beyond being a humanitarian crisis, it's something residents encounter daily. Tent cities line sidewalks, parks, and freeway underpasses, making some neighborhoods feel unsafe or unwelcoming. Parents worry about letting their kids walk alone, and small business owners struggle with vandalism or theft. The result? Communities begin to feel less stable, less connected, and less livable. What makes it worse is the feeling that solutions are slow to arrive. Residents pay some of the highest taxes in the nation, yet many wonder why those funds don't seem to translate into safer streets or better community support. That disconnect creates frustration and, for many, pushes them to search for a place where safety feels less like a daily gamble. When families compare their experiences in California with states where crime rates are lower and neighborhoods feel more secure, the choice becomes clearer. Safety isn't just about statistics, it's about peace of mind. And for many Californians, that peace is worth moving across state lines to find. Number 7. Quality of education. For many families, the decision to leave California isn't just about money. It's about the future of their children. And when it comes to education, California's reputation is more complicated than many realize. On one hand, California is home to world-class universities like Stanford, UCLA, and UC Berkeley. But for parents raising kids in public schools, the story often looks very different. Despite being one of the wealthiest states in the nation, California consistently ranks near the bottom when it comes to K-12 education quality. Overcrowded classrooms, outdated facilities, and teacher shortages are common challenges. Imagine your child sitting in a class with 35 other students, struggling to get the attention they need. That's a reality for many families. Funding is another issue. While California spends billions on education, the results don't always match the investment. Test scores in math and reading often fall below the national average, and many parents feel their children aren't getting the academic foundation they deserve. For families who can't afford private school tuition, the options can feel limited. And when parents realize that moving to another state could mean smaller class sizes, better resources, and stronger academic outcomes for their kids, the decision starts to make sense. Education isn't just about academics. It's about opportunity. Parents want to know their children are safe, supported, and prepared for the future. When California can't provide that consistently, families are willing to uproot their lives to find it elsewhere. At the end of the day, no parent wants to feel like they're sacrificing their child's future just to stay in the Golden State. That's why education has become a powerful motivator for families choosing to leave. Number 8. Political climate and regulations. Another big reason so many Americans are leaving California is its political climate and strict regulations. For decades, California has been known for leading the way with progressive policies on the environment, business practices, and social issues. While some celebrate this forward-thinking approach, others feel overregulated and restricted, creating a deep divide that often pushes people to move elsewhere. Take small businesses, for example. California is consistently ranked as one of the most difficult states to run a business due to high taxes, complex labor laws, and strict environmental standards. While large corporations may have the resources to adapt, small business owners often feel crushed under the weight of endless permits, fees, and compliance requirements. Many eventually decide it's easier and more profitable to relocate their operations to states with fewer restrictions, like Texas, Arizona, or Florida. Then there's the everyday impact on residents. From strict housing codes to energy mandates, Californians often feel like their choices are limited or dictated by state policy. Even drivers have noticed the difference. California has some of the toughest emissions laws in the country, which can make owning and maintaining a car more expensive. Beyond regulations, the political divide itself plays a role. Not everyone feels represented in California's dominant political culture, and some residents seek out states where they feel their values align more closely with local leadership. The result? Families and businesses alike are voting with their feet. They're heading to states where they feel freer, less burdened, and more in control of their own lives. For them, leaving California isn't just about saving money. It's about finding a place that matches their beliefs and lifestyle. Number 9. Lifestyle and work flexibility. One of the biggest shifts in recent years has been how people work, and that's reshaping where they choose to live. Thanks to the rise of remote work, many Californians realized they no longer had to stay in the Golden State to keep their jobs. Before the pandemic, living in California often felt necessary if you wanted to work in industries like tech, entertainment, or finance. But now, many companies allow employees to work from anywhere. Suddenly, people looked around and asked themselves, why am I paying California prices when I could live somewhere cheaper, quieter, and less stressful? And that's exactly what happened. Families packed up and moved to states where their money stretches further, but they still kept their California-based salaries. Imagine earning a six-figure tech salary while living in Idaho, Texas, or Nevada. Your quality of life instantly skyrockets. You can buy a bigger home, save more money, and spend less time worrying about bills. It's not just about cost, though. It's about lifestyle choices. Many Californians are leaving behind the hustle, crowds, and endless traffic for a slower pace of life. They're trading small apartments for spacious houses, swapping city noise for quiet neighborhoods, and replacing stress with more family time. Even young professionals are catching on. Instead of chasing the California dream, they're building new dreams in places where flexibility gives them freedom, comfort, and peace of mind. In the end, the ability to work from anywhere has completely changed the equation. If you can live anywhere and still earn your California paycheck, why stay in the most expensive state when the same life, if not a better one, awaits elsewhere? Number 10. Search for better quality of life. At the heart of it all, the main reason so many people are leaving California comes down to something simple: the search for a better quality of life. California is famous for its beaches, mountains, and sunshine. But when everyday life becomes a constant struggle, with high costs, long commutes, crowded cities, and endless stress, many residents start asking themselves a tough question: am I really happy here? For families, the answer often leads them elsewhere. Parents want safe neighborhoods, affordable homes, and schools where their children can thrive. In many parts of California, those basic desires feel harder and harder to achieve. Moving to another state suddenly means more space, cleaner streets, and the comfort of knowing your paycheck goes further. For retirees, the dream is about peace and stability. They don't want to spend their golden years worrying about rising taxes, insurance hikes, or the next wildfire season. Instead, many are choosing to settle in states where life is slower, quieter, and less expensive. Even younger people are joining the trend. They're chasing opportunities where stress doesn't outweigh joy and where building a future feels possible without being buried in debt. At its core, this isn't just about leaving California. It's about choosing a lifestyle that feels more balanced, more affordable, and more fulfilling. People aren't just running from California's challenges. They're running toward the chance at a life that feels better every single day. And for many, that trade-off is worth everything. So, why are so many Americans leaving California? From the skyrocketing cost of living and punishing taxes to housing shortages, homelessness, natural disasters, and traffic, the challenges are stacking up. Add in safety concerns, struggles in education, heavy regulations, and the freedom of remote work, and it's no surprise that thousands of families are deciding the California dream just isn't worth the price anymore. But here's the thing. Leaving California doesn't mean people hate it. For many, it's bittersweet. They love the beaches, the culture, and the opportunities, but the balance between what they give and what they get has shifted. At the end of the day, it's about one thing: quality of life. People want to feel safe, stable, and hopeful about the future. And when California can't consistently provide that, they go looking elsewhere. The truth is, California is still beautiful, still full of promise, but for many, the costs now outweigh the benefits. And so, the Golden State is experiencing one of the biggest migrations in modern American history. The good news? California isn't doomed. Many of the problems driving people away can be solved, but it requires big changes and bold leadership. First, tackling the housing crisis is key. Easing zoning restrictions, encouraging faster construction, and expanding affordable housing could make living in California more realistic for middle-class families. Without fixing housing, every other solution falls short. Second, reducing taxes and cutting red tape would help both individuals and small businesses. Streamlined regulations and smarter budgeting could keep more money in people's pockets while still funding essential services. Third, California must address homelessness and public safety with long-term strategies, not just temporary fixes. That means more investment in mental health services, addiction treatment, and affordable housing, while also ensuring neighborhoods remain safe and welcoming. Fourth, improving infrastructure and transportation could restore people's time and sanity. Faster transit options, smarter road planning, and upgraded utilities would go a long way toward making daily life less stressful. Finally, California needs to restore trust in leadership by showing residents that their tax dollars are being used effectively. People want to see results: safer streets, better schools, and stronger communities. California has everything it needs to be the dream state again. The question is, will leaders and communities rise to the challenge, or will the exodus continue? Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Would you stay in California, or pack your bags and leave? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Raising hands, and if you found this video eye-opening, don't miss my previous upload. It dives even deeper into life-changing decisions like this. We put a lot of effort into bringing you these videos, so please support us by subscribing. It's just one click, but means the world to us. Red Heart.